welcome back. I'm Tanya from Tanya's Witchy Kitchen, and how are you doing today? As you can see, I'm not in my kitchen. I'm not in my storage space. I'm in my office corner. It's where I work. It's where I play. Yeah. Pretty much in this room a lot. It's actually scary. So I was looking back at this sheet. So I have a sheet that shows me, I'll just show it to you. But basically it's every single batch of soap I have made since the beginning. Okay, now my beginning ones were just notebook paper. And I had a few batches under my belt, you know, that was like, you know, but once I really started getting into it, I started writing my batches down. So this is every, like in this binder is, or in this clip, is every single soap batch I've made. And there's this many, you know, lines per page. So it tells me the date I made it. It tells me whether it was hot processed or cold processed. It tells me what the name of the soap is called. And then I've started adding if I see pop it or if I put it on the heat pad. And then it tells me which I write down which batch I've used because I've been doing master batches. So it's actually easy for labeling. So in my labeling on my computer, I have like master batch number 8. And then right beside it, I'll have changes that I've made to it. Is there wine in there? Is there buttermilk in there? Is there shea instead of cocoa butter type of recipe? Because some, you know, like my master batch butter recipe, the butters can change. Okay, so, and then it's a scent name and the company that I got it from, and how much scent did I use, how many ounces of oils are in the batch, and then if it's this is salt, it's SSK, it's salt, sugar, and kaolin clay. And this is something I've added recently, like because I was using pink Himalayan salt. Sometimes I just use regular salt. Sugar, sometimes I don't add sugar because it's got wine or buttermilk or cocoa milk, or you know, coconut milk, not cocoa milk, coconut milk in it. So, you know, it's a change, and so therefore what's really in there. And then which type of mold did I use, and if there's any notes, like I had columns in these. And then, oh, the whole cost, the number of the bars, and the cost per bar. Yeah, so the whole cost per batch and then per bar. And, you know, you gotta have those details in there because, you know, otherwise you don't know what you're selling. You could be selling stuff and the bar cost you, you know, whatever, you know. But yeah, so I was looking at my sheet and realized I hadn't made soap in a month. From mid-November to mid-December, I made no soap. Seriously, no soap. Between work and Christmas and orders, I didn't even have a chance to make soap, which was really depressing because I was really missing it. And then I looked in December, I only made 4 batches of soap total. 4. Crazy, I know. And then I was looking at last week and I made 7 last week. So that's my sporadic year. Yeah. But yeah, I was really missing making soap, but I just knew I didn't have that capabilities or the time to do it. So yeah. But I have had fun this last week making soap, and those will be coming out soon. They were the finishing of some other stuff, and some other stuff's running, whatever. We'll see that down the road. But today I wanted to talk about, we are doing Dual Lye Shave Bars. People kind of get confused on the Dual Lye and why Dual Lye, and you know, how do you figure out the ratios to, what if you don't want a 50-50 ratio of potassium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide? You know, there's all those questions. So we're going to talk about those in the video. So we'll give you 3 things. Be kind, be forgiving, and be you. Yeah, be kind, be forgiving, and be you. And let's go check out this video on Dual Lye Shave Bars. And to our shave bars, they are blackberry and orange is the fragrance. I forgot to tell you they are hot processed. Whoops. That's okay, right? I know we did one last week, but that was totally different. So all my oils and butters and stearic are in the crock pot. I'm adding citric acid to the lye water. Like I said, I'm not going to teach you how to do it. Go to the other video last week. There's 2 links you can click on and learn all about citric acid there. And talking about like what makes up the recipe, I like to see a shave bar with a stearic rating of 40 or more. So on the soap calculator, you know, when it gives you your fatty acid profile, I like to see it over 40. I think it has a huge impact on the shave bars itself just because of that. So I add extra stearic, and there's kokum and other butters to boost that number. And as my oils are melting down, I'm prepping the lye water. I really will not add my lye. I will not add the sodium or potassium hydroxide to the water until those oils are at 150 degrees, because I want my oils to be over 150, right around there, you know, and so that my lye water is hot when I add it. I don't like letting it cool down. That's not my thing. So I start with my sodium hydroxide first, because that is what that is what I figure out how much citric acid is going to eat away and how much extra I need. So I do that with the sodium hydroxide. And then I add the potassium hydroxide second. If you're not using citric acid, which is totally fine, you can actually measure them out in the same container and pour them at the same time. It does not matter. And you can do the other one, potassium first and sodium second. It doesn't matter. It's totally preference. So my lye water is going to be nice and hot. It's going to be like 170 degrees. I swear potassium never gets as high as the sodium hydroxide. It's really interesting. That's a whole nother topic. But so I have it all prepped and ready to go. And the nice thing about having your oils at 150 degrees and your lye water super hot is you don't have to stick blend as much because the soap is hot. Okay, it's kind of like getting it to a thick emulsion fast. You know, if you soap high, you're gonna have a thicker trace faster than if you soap at 80 or 90 degrees. So this is where the stearic is attaching itself to the lye so quickly. And my water content, it's a 3-to-1 water to lye ratio. I think that really helps for it not to get super chunky, because I've done this before with a lesser water ratio and it gets chunky and hard. And so if you do that, don't panic. This is the part where you just keep going. You just keep going. You just keep hitting it with the immersion blender and don't stop. Don't give up. Because the craziest thing happens, and I do not know the science behind it, okay? I do not know. Is that where it actually hits full emulsion? Because I'll lift my stick blender up, and, we are not emulsified. But you can see, I pointed out, there's starting to be nice, shiny, solid parts in my soap batter. See? That will, eventually, it will be there. And maybe that is emulsion. Maybe it's finally getting there. But it's so cool to see. See? Look at that. Oh, it's just beautiful when it gets shiny and glossy and fluid, and it's so much easier to see when you're hot processing versus cold processing. Cold processing, sometimes you end up with, It's not soap on a stick, but it's really thick. I've it's a thick pour, but depends on the stirrer. But yeah, that's okay. So this is after 5 minutes, and it's cooking beautifully. I'll check it after. Here's another 15, and then I will mix it. Do not leave your hot process soap, no matter what. You're hearing this from a person who knows what happens if you leave your hot process soap and you're not checking it all the time. Don't even leave the room unless you have to. Like, it's, oh, that's so pretty. It's gelling. But yeah, it can bubble up. It can get too hot. It can overflow. Okay? Especially depending on how big your crock pot is. Mine, it's less soap, more crock pot. So, probably didn't have that fear. But you never know. It could do that. And so I end up cooking this probably for a total of an hour. That is all gelling on the sides there, you guys. It's so pretty. I just love that. I love to see it gel. 167, 172 in the middle. It's a great temperature. Great temperature. Now, when you're talking about, the reason for a dual lye is that you get a nice, thick, creamy lather when you do the dual lye soap. So get your mold ready, and then we're going to get our additives ready. And my additives are kale and clay, pumice powder, and oatmeal powder. Those are my powders, okay? I'm talking with my hands again. Then we have shea butter. Shea is actually my super fat that goes in at the end. And then I have my colors, which I think I changed in the end because it was going to be purple and orange, and I know I changed it. I changed it to, so the orange is Tequila Sunrise, and I changed it to Voodoo with a little bit of black oxide. Yep. I don't know why. I want it more pinky, not purpley. Does that make sense? I don't know why. But anyways, I melt the shea, and that's where I actually add my micas, is to the shea butter. You can add it to anything you want to. But for whatever reason, I like adding shea at the end. That is my super fat for these bars. And, I changed it to Voodoo. I had the purple there, but I changed it to the Voodoo with a little bit of black oxide. I just like doing that. I don't know why. It totally ruins the Voodoo. It just gives it a different color. And just for future reference, it could have used a little more color if I wanted a darker color, but I like the pale color that it gives. I used to do these minty mocha, not minty mocha. That would be a good shave bar. Just sit there in the shower and eat that thing. Minty mango were my first shave bars, and yeah, they're so delightful. I need to make more. I have a customer who uses them as body bars. So it's her shave bar, it's her body bar, it's her total all-in-one. Yep, seriously. But they're great. They're exfoliating, they're creamy, they got all the things. The only thing that would make it better would be if it was a salt bar, but I don't think that would really work for shaving. Salt is supposedly cuts down on the lather, and we want big bubbles and big lather in this, so yeah. Isn't that a pretty color? It's not what you normally see with Voodoo. There's quite a bit of black oxide in there. It was like 1/64 teaspoon to 1/8 teaspoon of Voodoo, supposedly. That's what my notes say. In case I didn't mention it, my super fat is 10%. So I really bumped that sucker. And in goes the additives, in goes the fragrance oil, and it's still nice and fluid. Nice and fluid, and the higher the potassium percentage that you use, it is going to be a softer bar. It'll still be solid because of your sodium hydroxide, but you have to decide what percentage you want. Do you want a higher percentage of the sodium hydroxide for a more solid bar, or do you want a higher percentage of potassium hydroxide for a softer bar? And believe me, it can be soft enough to dent or squeeze with your finger. But the Dual Lye gives it a really thick, dense, foamy lather. And that's what we're going for with these shave bars, is something dense, stable, solid, and creamy. In go the colorants. And this is going in a column mold. I think you saw that already. And so I just mix this up. If it would happen to get hard on you or too cold, okay, if this would happen to get too cold on you and it would harden up, put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. I kid you not. Kid you not, it will make it as fluid as that stuff that's in the crock pot. And that stuff is hot. Yeah, that stuff is hot. The only problem I have that I don't like about hot processed soap, which is probably just my own thing because my crock pot hates me, is the little white specks you get when the soap is just, it's from the edges. It's really from the edges. And then I dump it in there to make a nice, really cool bowl swirl. Yes, you can bowl swirl hot process. You can do a lot with hot process. Yeah, you just swirl around. And if you poured it out like that, I've done that before too, but it's really kind of cool. And I just, hi-ya, into the mold. I was trying to let you see. There you go. This is a blend. It's 2 fragrance oils blended together that I just love. Tap the mold down really good. I cover it with saran wrap, just, to keep stuff out, and leave it set overnight. As you can see, overnight. Being it's hot process, I can unmold it the next day. If this was my cold process, it would probably sit in the mold for a couple days and then be thrown in the freezer, and, because of that. But being it's hot process, I don't need to do that. And I just shave off those little edges and clean up the bottom, and not even going to worry about the sides. Look at that. Nice, hard, solid bar. Beautiful. Okay, let's pretend you don't have a Dual Lye calculator access, and we are using soap calc. So I'm going to do a 60-40 split of sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. So I take my total oils, for example, let's say I have 30 ounces, times 60%, which is what the sodium hydroxide. It gives me 18 ounces of oils to plug into the calculator with the sodium hydroxide option chosen. Okay? To find my potassium hydroxide, I do the same thing. My total oils times 40% gives me 12 ounces of the potassium hydroxide oils. I plug that recipe into the calculator. Same recipe, guys. I just change the oils from 18 to 12. Make sure I hit potassium hydroxide 90% pure. And the calculator tells me how much of each specific lye I need. Write down the water content for each. Or if you're going to do a 3-to-1 like I do, I just take the total amount of lye times 3. And that's my water content. And that's pretty much it. You can do a 50-50, and then you just divide your oils in half and plug them into the calculator and, make sure you shift your lyes, and there you go. Here are the fragrance notes to these yummy, creamy shave bars. Here are the bars right after I cut them. And dogs are going nuts. Here are the bars right after they are cured in a little bit different lighting. But anyway, I hope you had a good time. Thank you for stopping by. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.